What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ben and Walker Movie Show. I'm your co-host Ben, joined by my other co-host Walker, and we're excited to have a conversation with you about one of our favorite things in the world: microprocessors. That is probably the best Boston accent you'll get from me today. I nailed that one. Well,
Yeah,
nailed. It's better than the ones I've attempted.
yeah. I don't think I'm going to attempt any. I don't. I think I'll butcher it pretty bad. My wife's from the Boston area, and she doesn't have strong accent. She does say "wicked" constantly, though.
Wicked awesome.
Microprocessors. That what year was this movie? 2007.
2006. 2006.
Microprocessors feels a little 2001, doesn't it? I was just thinking about that. I don't even know what that is.
There's a lot with microprocessors in this movie that don't I don't think about it too much. I just don't think
Yeah.
about it too much because it has a lot to do with the plot and why the FBI probably gets involved, but that is about it because the microprocessors they sell, they're not even they don't even sell them the real thing.
Yeah.
They get got. But
How you been?
anyways, as I always say, if this is your first time being here with us, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, and also give us a follow over on our socials at Ben and Walker Movie Show so you can stay up to date with the latest content that we have for you guys. Also, just in case I forget to mention it, if you're watching on YouTube, please comment down below with your thoughts on today's show. Although I think you can also comment on Spotify now. I think that's a feature that they have. But it really helps us out a ton. And we always enjoy your feedback, your opinions, especially on a movie like today, The Departed. This is a classic. It's weird to call it a classic. This movie's, I was thinking about it, it's almost 20 years old.
That's hard to believe. It does. It feels new age.
Yeah.
Honestly, there was an episode of House. House was one of my favorite shows when it was airing, and it was one of the later seasons. So it was probably like 2010 ish, and
Mm-hmm.
House was like in like an elementary school classroom for some reason talking to kids, and someone brought up the movie Pulp Fiction, and again, this was 2010 ish, and it was like, oh, they were talking about it earlier. They're like, yeah, he loves like old movies like that, and he's like, Pulp Fiction is not an old movie. It's like
Hey, it's old now.
these movies are starting to get old quick.
Yeah, I mean it's 31 years old, like almost 31 years old. Like
Yeah.
the movie came out in 94. I'm 31, so
This movie's
we're,
older than
we're
Pulp Fiction was when they said that.
yeah, we're getting old, Walker.
Mm.
Getting old, man. Speaking of which, today will probably be our last show for a while. We'll for the rest of the year kind of be hit and miss. Got some important stuff we got going on that we are doing. So this year we'll be kind of hit and miss, uh, but we'll still be getting stuff out. I mean, we only really do one a month anyway, but we'll probably be pretty hit and miss for the
Yeah,
remainder
we're
of the year.
yeah, my wife and I are 36 and a half weeks pregnant. Well, she's the pregnant one, but I am participating in the pregnancy and the birth. So we're due in the next few weeks for our first child, a little girl, and we're very
Yay!
excited. But we are gonna commit to. We don't know what it's gonna look like. Obviously, first time parents, so we're gonna uh, might not be a lot of movies, might not be a lot of theater visits, might not be a lot of podcasts, but we'll Ben and I will play it by ear and come in and record when we feel up to it or can or whatever. So we appreciate any patience and sorry for any delay. We have some job stuff happening. We um, have a lot going on at once. Both of our jobs and with the baby, it's all
Yeah,
happening within like a 3 month period, and we um so let us
yeah.
know if you're hiring.
Now, I listen. I'm so excited for you and Jess. It's so wonderful. It's really awesome, and yeah. we'll be pretty short on podcasts this year, but who knows? Maybe we'll drop in. We'll see Superman, and I'll convince Walker to come on and hop on the pod and be like, "Yo, man, we got to talk about this." Or when Avatar: Fire and Ash comes out, we'll be like, "Hey, man,
Oh
hey, we
man.
started out with Avatar, uh, The Way of Water. We gotta do this."
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm excited for so much this year. I'm excited
Oh
for. I mean, I'm getting it kind of mixed up on what's this year and what's next year. Mission Impossible's this year, right? And
yeah, yeah, May, I
ugh,
think.
yeah, and Superman and Paul Thomas Anderson and
Fantastic Four,
Fantastic Four and um, and we said Avatar.
Avatar.
Yeah, so we got there's a
Mhm.
lot going on here. So Jess said she would let me go to the movies 3 times a week, and that was it.
Ooh,
And
that's a limited schedule. Those are
then,
rookie numbers. We need you to bump those up.
yeah.
uh, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for bearing with us. We'll be sure to let you guys know when we have stuff out. Obviously, like I said, follow us over on our socials. We'll be sure to post stuff whenever we get stuff out. But Walker, originally today we were supposed to be covering a different movie. We had a different movie in mind. However, with the Oscars happening almost a month ago, and maybe longer by the time this comes out, which by the way, Honora rules.
That was
We
good.
decided, yeah, it was so good, so good. We decided to talk about one of our favorite Oscar-winning films, The Departed, which ironically is in honor of St. Pat's as well here at Missouri S&T. That is a Missouri S&T is a nerd school. It's an
Hmm.
engineering school, so it's a nerd school. A lot of smart people. They only go hard in the party scene once a year, and it is St. Pat's. And unfortunately, this year St. Pat's was um, I don't know if you heard, Walker, but it was pretty devastating what happened with the storms. A lot of properties and houses also. Less of that, but this is kind of an honor. And my thoughts and prayers go to those people affected. It was really devastating to see, but um, you know, St. Pat's wasn't as fun this year. But in years prior, that's the week where the college students decide to go hard. The Departed is directed by Martin Scorsese and stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Ray Winstone, Vera Farmiga, and Alec Baldwin. If you aren't familiar with The Departed, the plot synopsis reads like such, according to Google. South Boston cop Billy Costigan goes undercover to infiltrate the organization of gangland chief Frank Costello. As Billy gains the mobster's trust, a career criminal named Colin Sullivan infiltrates the police department and reports on activities to his syndicate bosses. When both organizations learn they have a mole in their midst, Billy and Colin must figure out each other's identities to save their own lives. So, Walker, when you think about The Departed, what comes to mind for you?
It's interesting. I think my answer might be weird.
And my answer is going to be weird, so it's okay.
Um, The Departed to me, it for a while, if you can come across people who haven't seen it, feels like a secret weapon movie to recommend to me. Like I think The Departed is so good to me. I think recommending it's we're gonna get into like our thoughts on it and everything like that, but spoiler alert, I love this movie, and
Yeah,
I am always so proud to recommend it to people. Now, I mean, obviously they need to be into this type of thing and not you know, be fine with violence and things like that. But
the F
um,
word a lot.
yeah, I just think this is such a good. I mean, and um, I think about the Oscar. I think long movie that it makes me think about Marty like tying up loose ends on a lot just because
Mhm.
I don't know. It just the movie feels like it has a bow on it to me. Um, uh, yeah, I guess those are the first things that come to mind.
So your answer is not that weird, I don't think. And I think this is a movie that you recommend to anybody and they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, The Departed's great." It is one of those movies. It's one of those last best picture winners that feel like it's universal in the
Hmm.
sense that non-movie lovers know what it is and they love it. Because it's on TV often. I don't know how they even edit this movie for TV. With the amount of language, but they do in violence. But um, for me, we talked about time passing, the fact that this movie's almost 20 years old. I'm nostalgic about this movie. And the
Hmm.
reason I'm nostalgic about it is because it came out in what I call the twilight of my childhood, in the sense that it's like when you go from being, a child to a teenager. This movie came out when I was 12, and it came out in that special time between like when I was obsessed with it between 2006, 2007. I'm 12 years old, turning 13 years old. You're still a teenage. You're becoming a teenager when you're 13 years old, but you still have childlike tendencies, and this
Hmm.
kind of comes into that where I'm exiting, being a child and becoming a teenager. And this is really when I started to, a few years prior, started to become more obsessed with, I was obsessed with movies and specific actors and loved movies, but this was really when my obsession with movies started to take hold. I remember sitting down and tracking down the AFI Top 100. I watched most of those movies, I think all except one, which is still on the list of movies I haven't seen. It's oh my god, I'm forgetting the name of it. Lawrence of Arabia. There we go. That's the only one I still haven't seen.
It's good.
I still it is from what I hear it is, and I
It's
need
good.
to get it off my bucket list.
You
But
get Obi-Wan with brown face, but it's good.
yeah, there's that. But like this movie kind of came out in that perfect time period, and something my grandma used to do is for my birthday she would take me to the store to get like my birthday presents, to pick them out. So I would know what they were before I got them. And this was like the last time she did that when I turned 13. I remember this was the movie that I got. I wanted The Departed,
Hmm.
got The Departed. It was awesome. And I watched it all the time. I watched this movie all the time. I still remember seeing the trailer for it. I saw the trailer for it twice when I saw Miami Vice in theaters. It played twice, and my dad tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, "We're seeing that. That looks good." And just like, I'm like, "Yeah, we are." And he took me and my brother to go see it. I still remember that. We'll get into it a little bit more, but there's a very specific death scene that happens in this movie that comes out of nowhere. Our three reactions at the same time, and this is one of those movies where I was a big champion for it to win Best Picture. It won Best Picture. I was very, very happy. It's one of the rare times that like my favorite movie of the year wins Best Picture. I'm very nostalgic about it because it came out at a very specific time in my life where I was, transitioning from being a child to being a teenager, and this kind of hit right in that sweet spot, right in the middle. And so I'm kind of nostalgic. So when I think about it, what comes to mind is that time period when this movie came out.
Yeah,
Um, but it's
that's
kind
fair.
of weird. It's kind of weird to be nostalgic about a mobster movie that came out when you were 12 years old and you loved it. But
No, I get it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't think I saw the movie until um probably like 2009, 2010. So I didn't see it until after I was out of high school and for the first time. But so yeah, but I get what you're saying.
yeah. Um, a very interesting thought, though, crept into my mind when I was watching this. Is this kind of a torch handoff movie? And the reason I ask, and I want to kind of set this up, is because when I think of the Oscars, I think of like Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson, the two most nominated actors of all time. Jack Nicholson, I believe, has 12, and Meryl Streep has 87, respectively. Uh, and in 1997, you had uh, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck win the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. I believe it was Best Original Screenplay. And Leonardo DiCaprio, while, already being an Academy Award nominated actor for his work in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, had really transitioned into this global superstar with a massive success in Titanic.
Right.
1997 is also the year that Jack Nicholson won his last Oscar for As Good as It
Yes, it
Gets.
gets.
Even though it wasn't the last nomination he had, I believe his last nomination was about Schmidt. Um, Almost 10 years later, they're all starring in a movie together that wins Best Picture and in many ways is the last truly great movie of Nicholson's legendary career. No offense to The Bucket List and How Do You Know, because those were the last two movies after this. I personally like The Bucket List. How Do You Know?
Mhm.
Not really. But do you think this is a Torch handoff movie?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. It's a kind of a new era here. I mean, it's tough to. I know we're going to talk more about Leo here in a second. I mean, it. I'm trying to remember back on like. I mean, this feels like um the like you said, Leo is already a superstar at this point, but it does feel like after this point, it kind of this was a moment of like, well, now he's like that the guy.
Yeah, it's a pivot. It's a
Yeah.
pivot. And it brings me to like my next point is like, is this the movie that kind of sets Leo apart from the rest? Because the Matt Damon part of this is a little different. Matt Damon, he came on to the scene and he was already in a bunch of other little stuff, but then he really hit big with Good Will Hunting, won the
Mm.
Oscar, and then was in Saving Private Ryan and a couple of Talented Mr. Ripley, um, and he also was in the Bourne movies, and the Bourne movies kind of took him from being the young heartthrob kind of actor to being the guy. The Bourne movies kind of changed his trajectory a little bit. So you could buy him in these tough guy roles. There's a joke in 40-Year-Old Virgin where Paul Rudd goes, I always thought that Matt Damon was a bit of a spaz or something like that. And then he goes, and then he kind of rocks ass in these Bourne movies, and it kind of sets him up for this different kind of trajectory.
Mm.
DiCaprio part is a little bit interesting because I think people forget about this, but while Titanic was this massive success, and my personally my fourth favorite movie ever, it put DiCaprio in this weird spot because he was seen as this very good actor. Again, he had been nominated, by the time this movie came out, a couple of times. Like he was nominated for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He, oddly enough, was not nominated for Titanic, which I think is crazy to me.
Hmm.
Um, but uh, he was nominated for The Aviator as well. So he had been nominated a couple of times. Speaking of Martin Scorsese, before this movie came out, but he was also struggling with his image a little bit because he had the heartthrob status, which is to
Yep.
no fault of his own, and he was seen as a guy who played like very certain type of young male characters,
Right.
very
Yeah.
very very different, not different, but they're very like a very specific type of young male character. um could he play, for lack of a better word, the tough guy or the more leading male role, similar to like Matt Damon, what he did with the Bourne movies and everything that kind of set him apart. And in 2006, I often talk about 1-2 punches or 1-2-3 punches that actors usually have where they make a leap. And this was that year for him because he had already made a leap. He was already a star. Like, don't get it twisted, he was already a star. But this 1-2 punch really of The Departed and Blood Diamond, in my opinion, really started the narrative of the public really going all in for this guy and wanting to see him get his flowers. And to me, this is where he really set himself apart from everybody else. Uh, because it seemed like he had this groundswell of support that really culminated when he won the Oscar for The Revenant, which is several years removed
Right.
from
Yeah, this
this.
it did feel like, I mean, I I'm trying to think back. I'm like looking at his filmography now, and I'm trying to think of like my thoughts on Leo DiCaprio. Obviously, this was 20 and 30 years ago, so it's hard to completely remember. But I mean, I obviously knew who he was, and I knew
Yeah,
who he
we all
was in the
did.
night. I knew who he was in the '90s. I knew
Mm-hmm.
he was at Titanic, and I remember Romeo Juliet. I remember. I think we watched that in high school. Um, and like the What's Eating Gilbert Grape, I can remember that from a young age. And I remember like, I've never seen Man in the Iron Mask, but I remember that was one of those blockbuster movies that like I always wanted to get
I
and
saw
never got
that.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the
you
first
know,
pay-per-view movies that we rented was Man in the Iron Mask.
really.
Yeah.
And then we had in Gangs of New York was popular and like the cool movie to watch for a period of time. And then Catch Me If You Can is another movie that's kind of like
Came out the same year too. He worked with Spielberg and Scorsese same year, coming off of The Beach, which was kind of disappointing to some people because it was his first movie off of Titanic. That was
mhm.
one that I saw at The Beach in theaters. Don't ask questions. I saw I saw it in theaters, and as a kid, I thought it was awesome. But like, and I to this day think it's underrated. But at the time, it was kind of seen as disappointing. And he followed it up by working with Spielberg and Scorsese, and they were both really good movies and very well received.
Right. And then, and Catch Me If You Can, that's another kind of secret weapon. It feels like if you catch somebody who
Mm-hmm.
hasn't seen it, it's people love that movie. It's a great movie. And so
Oh, it's
now
great.
it's like, I mean, he in an Aviator and he's obviously a respected actor. Went from Heartthrob. He's a great actor. People like his stuff. I feel like after The Departed and then Blood Diamond, he started getting it became like a Leo DiCaprio movie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, are you going to see? I don't care what it's about. It's the next Leo DiCaprio movie, similar to Nolan. I mean, similar to like all these directors and huge movie
Yeah,
stars
that's
that
a
are
good
maybe
comparison.
Tom Cruise. Like, it's like now he's a household name in the sense that like it doesn't really matter what the movie is. It's the new Leo movie. You got to go see it. And at that point, then obviously we know his run since then, and he's batting high. But
Very.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like this is the 1-2 punch because I remember as a kid thinking Leonardo DiCaprio was awesome. And I remember having specific conversations with like some of my older sister's friends and them calling him, and specifically the male friends, going Leonardo DiCaprio. So like kind of shitting on him because of the heartthrob stuff. And again, he kind of worked on that image, which again, it's no fault to his own. Like I think it's a little ridiculous. He was still a talented actor and so good from a young age. Like he was like 12 years old when he did What's Eating Gilbert Grape,
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
which
a long time. Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. Um but yeah, I think this is the movie that really set him apart. Um and one of the conversations unfortunately that has become of this movie is this is kind of like the career Oscar for Scorsese. Do you think this is like the career achievement Oscar for him, or do you think it was actually deserved?
I think it's deserved. I mean, I'm not. I mean, from his fellow nominees, I'm not overly familiar with all of those movies. I know The Queen, but it. I
Yeah,
mean,
what were
I
the nominees that year? It was
United '93, Paul Greengrass, The Queen, Stephen Frears, Letters from Iwo Jima, Clint Eastwood, and Alejandro Inarritu Babel. Um,
no, yeah.
so I mean,
So you had
yeah.
United '93, The Departed, Babel, Letters from Iwo Jima, Little Miss Sunshine, The Queen. Yeah,
Um, So yeah, I mean, I think it was deserved. I think it's an excellent movie, and I think I definitely think it's deserved. And I mean, even if it wasn't deserved, I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving him a career. I mean, he deserved it. I don't know all the nominees during Goodfellas or during, I don't know the whole story behind it, but yeah, I
He
think it's
lost
deserved.
he lost Goodfellas to for directing and picture to uh, why am I blanking on one of the more popular actors, Kevin Costner,
Dance with
for
Wolves.
Dances with Wolves. Yeah, which I think people forget at the time that was a massive movie. I wasn't around, but even as a kid, I knew what Dances with Wolves is. It wasn't until I was a little bit older that I knew what Goodfellas was. And it wasn't even until I was older than that that I knew that there was some type of controversy going on around, it winning and it being a momentum Oscar, which, let's be honest here, all Oscars are momentum. Like it really is. It's years later where we kind of reopen the dialogue and we go, well, this should have won Best Picture. It's very often that happens. It's less often that people get it right, and I mean, get it right. It's such a ridiculous argument. Movies they're subjective. Um, no one's gonna. It's not a movies are not a monolith. People are not a monolith. It's people are judge them differently. But for me, like, I don't think this is a career Oscar. I think it all culminated at the perfect time for this legendary filmmaker who is still working at the top of his game. Just recently, it was announced and that he is going to direct a movie that stars Leo, The Rock, and Emily Blunt about uh, a Hawaiian gangster, which, yeah, I want to see that. I want to
I
see
mean,
what
that sounds great.
Marty
I mean,
I want to see
somehow,
what Marty can bring out of Dwayne Johnson. That sounds awesome.
you know, yeah, you
Um,
got to see the first episode of the Studio, that new Seth Rogen
I
show on
hear,
Apple.
I hear it's
So
fantastic.
Marty's got a big part in it.
Okay, I'm excited, but like to me, like no, I don't think this is a career Oscar. I think it's a mix of the two in the sense that everyone wanted him to win, and he was also the right choice. It's kind of like Leo. Everyone says when he won Best Actor, it was a career win, even though he's not old enough really for the career win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, stereotypically, uh, but when you look at who he went up against, it's like, yeah, Leo should have won Best Actor, and he
Right,
deserved it. It might not be his best,
right. That's
but
what
it is the one.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, and
people.
but
Yeah, the people can take any bit of it, any angle from it, and say, "Well, he wasn't the best out of the pool." Okay, he was the best out of the pool, but it wasn't his best. If he wasn't
mhm.
nominated for Goodfellas, he shouldn't have been, or he didn't win for Goodfellas, he shouldn't have won for this. If he didn't win for Titanic, he shouldn't have won for whatever. And I, I think career Oscars exist, but
Yeah,
I disagree. I think the timing. I think you're exactly right. I think it's somebody like Nolan. People talked about that. No, Oppenheimer was awesome, and yeah, I think
yeah,
Nolan should retire an Oscar-winning director. I think he should retire with the trophy at least once. And maybe Oppenheimer felt like this feels like the move to give it to him now more than ever. Sure, maybe all those things can be true. It was the best movie of the year. I mean, it was the best directed movie of the year, and and it
yeah.
was deserved, just like The Departed. I mean, I think those are kind of similar, but uh so yeah, I agree with you. I think timing worked. I think it was an excellent film.
Completely agree. Sorry, I like coughed. I pressed mute, and now my throat's like, oh, sorry, guys. Where does this stand for you when it comes to Martin Scorsese films? Speaking of like, it wasn't his best, or was it his best? To me, this like until Wolf of Wall Street came out, this was my favorite.
It's top three. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, blind ranking, it's top three for me too. Like it's Wolf of Wall Street, this Shutter
I mean,
Island,
yeah. I
but
mean,
I also
I
I
mean,
really really love King of Comedy.
yeah. I like his stuff a lot. I mean, I tried to watch After Hours last night, and they were. It's not on Prime anymore, and I was on a TV that didn't have a lot of things logged into it, so I didn't put a lot of
Mm.
effort into it. Ended up watching. about 5 minutes of Tangerine, the Sean Baker movie, and just fell asleep about 5 minutes into it. But uh, I yeah, I mean, I like a lot of his stuff that I've seen. I haven't seen After Hours. I've recently watched King of Comedy last year. Loved it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put Goodfellas in the top three, and I'd put
Goodfellas is good too.
Wolf of Wall Street and The Departed would be the top three for me. And I don't know the order. All three, though. Spoiler alert. Um, 95 and above for me.
Yeah, the thing is like when you look at like his best movies, there's something about the flow of them all, especially the rewatchable. Like so, like The Departed, Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street. There is this flow to those three movies that they're long movies, but because of the flow and because of the chaotic nature, it feels like it goes by like that.
Yeah.
Like they're long movies. Wolf of Wall Street's 3 hours. This movie's like 2.5 hours. Goodfellas is probably around that time, I believe. But they go by so quickly. Um, because the chaotic nature of them, and he often works with his the same editor. He works with like every 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 movie. I'm forgetting her name. I'm looking it up right now. Um, Thelma Shoemaker.
Yeah.
He works with her every movie, and I mean, she won the Oscar for this, and it was very well deserved. And then again, it's the editing, it's the flow of these movies that make them inherently rewatchable. And I think that's why like his movies, at least those three, like makes them so good is their rewatchability.
I agree.
Um, but yeah, this would be top three for me as well. Rotten Tomato score 91%. Consensus is featuring outstanding work from an excellent cast. Departed is thoroughly engrossing gangster drama with a gritty authenticity and soupy morality we come to expect from Martin Scorsese. Um, yeah, this is higher for me as well. You said 95 and above. This would probably be 95 and above for me too.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the highest score I've given on this podcast is 96 for Wolf of Wall Street. No, my microphone just fell apart. I think it's 96 for Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm again trying to decide: is this higher than Wolf of Wall Street, or is it the same, or one lower? But it's all very close. It's going to be 90, probably 96 out of 100 for me. I mean, it's almost perfect, and I don't even exactly know if I could like be as nitpick. I mean, obviously 96 out of 100 is an all-time movie, but
yeah,
I mean, it's not Saltburn. Saltburn, I have it at 98 out of 100 if you want to know, but
I'm not going to kill your groove with that one.
um but yeah, I've got it. I got it higher than this.
Yeah, I think ultimately why I keep going back to this movie and why I love it is because this is a movie about dual lives that these characters all live and how they struggle to maintain their dual identities. Every character that you interact with, every main character has some type of dual identity going on. Um,
Yeah.
and it makes it, again, going back to that rewatchability of these movies. Um, it makes it so much better upon rewatches because it's little character details that you notice, little lines that they say, little things that they do with their faces, and great performances all around. And I think that's why I keep going back to this. Why I think it's so good.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's move on to some fun facts here. All right, I'm gonna blow your mind.
Okay.
The original cast of this movie would have had Leonardo DiCaprio as Billy, although there allegedly was some stuff with Tom Cruise as well originally. Um, Brad Pitt as Sullivan. He was a producer on this movie,
Mm-hmm.
but dropped out to do Babel. And also, he's
Okay.
felt like he was a little too old, he said. Al Pacino as Costello. Dennis Leary or Ray Liotta as Dignam. Robert De Niro as Queenan. Mel Gibson as Captain Ellerby, which is Alec Baldwin's role.
Hmm.
either Kate Winslet, Emily Blunt, Hilary Swank, or Jennifer Aniston for the part of Madeline, and RZA as Detective Brown. Um,
Jeez. God.
yeah, the what could have been for this movie, like if that cast, I mean, I still think it would have been a great movie with this cast. I do think Ray Liotta is probably a little too old for the Dignam part at this
Right.
point. Dennis Leary also a little older, but he appears younger.
Yeah.
And the snarkiness of him would have come through a little bit like more smartassery. Like I think he would have been able to nail that a little bit better
Yeah.
than Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta would have just been like he's a blunt instrument whenever he was, acting. Just a blunt instrument. Just great at what he does and great at delivery. With
Yeah.
his honesty and his performances. Dennis Leary is great, but he has this smart aleck tone to him because he's a comedian as well. Um, Robert De Niro would have been good, but again, Robert De Niro, unless he's in Starlight, or not Starlight, Stardust rather, he comes across as kind of hard. And
Hmm.
I think there's something with Martin Sheen, him telling him, come in,
He had a
let me.
comfort.
Yeah, there's a little bit of comfort with him. Mel Gibson as Captain Ellerby would have been awesome. He didn't do it because of Apocalypto.
Yeah.
He was directing that at the time. But Alec Baldwin was also really good. He's one of those fitness freaks. Get the fuck out of here. It's just great.
Yeah.
Um, and I will be honest, I like the casting of Madeline. So
That's fair.
yeah, Farmiga, I would have kept that. RZA as Brown would have been cool, but again, I like Anthony Anderson. So
Yeah, this is obviously cool, and it
yeah,
would be a cool alternate reality to somehow see this film. And this is a star-studded cast, and it would have blown my mind if it had been released. But it's tough to compare when the movie's so good. When the movie was worked so well, and you've got like, yeah, I mean, I actually could see Leota or Dennis Leary more so in
yeah,
Dignam, but you got Mark Wahlberg given the performance of his life.
yeah.
I mean, it's the best performance he's ever given, and so it's like it's tough to imagine it going a different direction. Um, Mel Gibson, yeah, I mean, Alec Baldwin's just kind of I mean, um, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to look at like, oh man, if only we gotten somebody better than Jack Nicholson,
Well,
it's
see, the
tough.
thing is, Al Pacino is a great actor. He's great, but him as a Irish crime boss, I don't know. I mean, the Irishman, but I don't know. Jack Nicholson is, I think, underrated in this movie. I think he's excellent in it, especially
Very good.
upon rewatches. He's so good, so devilishly like nefarious and evil, and there's something about his performance that's just it draws you in. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, it's the what could have been cast, and I like this cast a lot, but I think we ended up with the perfect casting.
I agree.
All things happen for a reason, and I like the cast we got. Leonardo DiCaprio described his character as being a constant 24-hour panic attack, and yeah, it's him living on edge, not knowing if he's going to get killed at one moment or the next because Jack Nicholson as Costello is so unpredictable and unhinged and becomes more unhinged the longer the movie goes. And it kind of puts Billy's character in this state of being constantly on edge, but also like having to maintain his composure and also like standing up to Costello in ways that's like, is this guy crazy? Like does he not know what I'm capable of? And I think he respects it because of that, but it also like Matt, like the performance that he gives in this is so good. And this is, I mean, the year that he got nominated, he didn't get nominated for this movie. He got nominated for Blood Diamond, which is also great, but this performance is better.
Right. Yeah, that is weird. I mean, it's shocking. Yeah, I mean, it definitely shines through that he's having a constant panic attack. I mean, and the more you watch it, the more you can pick up on things that it's like, I mean, where you can feel the tension coming off the screen, and you
Yeah,
start to respect the situation he's in more and more.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, when I watched this for the first time, probably when I was 19, 20 years old or something, it was just a badass movie with a uh, cool plot and good actors that I liked, and obviously it was a Scorsese movie. And the older I get, and the more like interested I get into like the real screenplay of it, there's a lot going on there that the situation is insane that he's in, and it
yeah,
definitely comes off from his performance.
yeah. Vera Farmiga met with real LAPD psychiatrists to prepare for her role. The psychiatrist read the script and told Farmiga that Madeline did pretty much everything wrong. And yeah, I agree. Like that was my one of my questions about this movie was she's not good at her job,
No,
like
no,
at all.
um no, she's definitely not. Something about that, and I don't want to like. I liked the performance,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked some of the aspect. This is nitpicky. This is very very deep, so I don't want to sound like I'm um, hating or anything. I think she was probably her storyline was probably my least favorite part of the movie.
It's
Um,
underserved.
yeah, either it was and I don't even, and it's hard for me to even put my finger on why. It's my like that's the difference in like 99 out of 196 for me. It's just something about, and there might be elements of it that are like overly convenient, and like we're already in a situation where we've swapped moles, and like we're in this really cool like pitch for the movie, and then all of a sudden now we're gonna also swap, like we have a love triangle in the same, and it just gets awfully convenient for like drama's sake. And then the execution, it was still great, and I still liked her performance, and I still, it doesn't take away much at all from the movie, but just that whole
No.
storyline was probably my least favorite part of the movie.
Well, it's because it's you never get from her POV. It's always from Leo's or from Matt's
Mm-hmm.
POV, from Damon or from Leo's POV, and you never get from hers. And you don't really get a sense of why she does what she does, why she's having this dual, relationship, this inappropriate relationship as a psychiatrist with one of her patients slash her relationship with Damon and her not knowing his dark secrets. And it's again, it plays to the theme of the movie, which is duality and identity, and how do you balance it. And but you never get from her perspective, and it feels underserved. So yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Originally, Jack Nicholson turned down the role in the movie, but after meeting with Martin Scorsese, William Monahan, and Leonardo DiCaprio, he was finally convinced to play the role of Frank Costello. The main reason he joined the production was because he had previously done a few comedies and wanted to play a villain again. And he considered the character of Costello to be the ultimate incarnation of evil. And he did. He was in Anger Management with Adam Sandler, which one of my favorite Sandman movies, and he is awesome in it. And he was also in As Good as It Gets, which is one of my favorite rom coms. Such a good movie.
Right.
Nancy Myers, um, really really good movie, and he's great in it. and he's coming off of those two movies. I don't know if there was one in between. I don't think so. Uh, but getting to see him, this is really his last great performance. He never really turned in a bad one, but this is like the last one before he ultimately kind of retires from acting, and then his son is now was in Smile 2 and in Novocaine, which is one of my favorite movies of the year so far, and he is also very good. Chip right off the
That's
old
got
block.
Jack Quaid in it too, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
I need to
Two
see it.
guys
That
that are
sounds
just
good.
very good. Nepo
Yeah,
babies, but listen, I'm all for the Nepo babies.
yeah, yeah. Jack Nicholson. He's. I mean, he plays a villain as good as anybody. And there was elements of his
Yeah.
performance in this I could see. God, I can't think of his name. What's his name in The Shining? Is it
Jack
Jack
Torrance.
Torrance? Um,
Yeah.
like his eyes cutting back and forth when he's starting to like lose it, and he's just kind of like I don't know. There was just it took me back to it a little bit, but
When he
he plays in a
throws the booger sugar up in the air and goes, "Don't move till you're numb." Yeah, like, and you just see his eyes get all big and stuff. Yeah, like
yeah.
he
He
takes it to another level.
Yeah, he doesn't need to play it. He doesn't play it cool, or I mean it ends
Mhm.
up being cool kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's like I mean that's Jack Nicholson's. He's famous for
being
like
cool.
being cool anyway, and it's not like he's traditionally cool. He's not trying to be cool. He's not like super polished. He's just a G. I mean, he's just
Yeah,
cool. Like somehow he can. He's
he
his
has
hair can
aura.
look
He has
like his hair can
confidence.
look sideways, and he somehow he just rocks it with a cigar in his mouth, and like everyone wants to be him.
Yeah,
So and he
sit
does something
aside.
similar with the villain role where he's just like, look, I'm not going to play this like calculated um, Bond villain here. We're going to play someone who's unhinged and
Yeah,
um, actually evil.
yeah, and then him doing the rat impression is,
Yep.
yeah, it's so good. Um, when the film won uh, the Oscar for Best Picture, Martin Scorsese said he was surprised the film had won. Scorsese said that because the film is so tough, nasty, and violent, he never thought of the idea of it being an awards winner when filming it, and that makes sense. I mean, I say that, but you never know with the Oscars. You really don't. Like, the one thing you do know is that if it's a fantasy movie, unless it is Lord of the Rings or science fiction film, which, yeah, fantasy, science fiction, or horror, those three genres, those are the only consistencies. It's very rare for any of those films to win Best Picture unless it is just outlandishly good.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
mean, I'll tell you. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying. Maybe I didn't say it, but when you asked like what comes to mind about The Departed, it still surprises me. It kind of what I mean. I don't remember that Oscar season or anything like that. I don't remember like being shocked or not being shocked or the race or any of that stuff. But just looking back on winners, it doesn't. Now I think of it as one of the best movies of all time. I really do. I mean, I think it deserves it. I think it's excellent. But when I every time, like if I'm refreshing my memory on Oscar winners and see that it won, it kind of surprises me. It doesn't feel like a winner to me. And even not that, and I'm not taking anything away again of its deservingness to win. It just doesn't track as like what I expect to win when it wins. And
yeah.
so I kind of agree with him.
Well, to kind of add to that, this we're doing this in honor of the Oscars happening like a month ago. Do you think people look back? I know it's a different movie, but do you think people look back on Anora that way? Because that's not really an Oscar type of movie.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
interesting to think about that.
yeah,
Um, I mean, it's
it is
my fourth favorite movie of last year, mind you. But
okay. It maybe. You know, it's so fresh. It's hard to do it just because of the campaign. It's so fresh. It's hard for me to like separate from it because it just was definitely campaigned and wasn't a big surprise, really. And it's hard to do it. I mean, you you
Visit
you
one
look
editing,
back
I
on,
was like, okay, we're in for the night. We're in for a Nora.
yeah. It's tough to do it. You know, when you even when looking back on all the, I mean, stuff like Oppenheimer feels like that's gonna. Um,
In the
I mean,
bucket.
the Oppenheimer was weird just because of the just the success commercially from it. That's just it.
Almost
Always
$1 billion
people always are.
movie.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
just complain about like no one's ever seen the movies at the Oscars, which I certainly understand. But it's and that one obviously everybody saw it.
Yeah.
And it I don't know. It's tough. I need some separation. I can't even do it for the last 10 years, really. Even like thinking back on like Shape of Water or Moonlight or I don't know. Some of them feel like duds to me. Sort of Nomad Land feels like
Well, that's a
the only
that's a
time I'm
great
ever going to
Oscars year.
remember Nomad Land is when I think
You
back
bring
on
up,
Oscar winners.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was a
That's a
fine
weird. It's a
film. It's
weird one.
just
Yeah,
yeah. And even I mean
it's
like
a,
Coda's I consider potentially my favorite movie of all time right now. I mean like or maybe not of all time, but like my favorite movie like right now in the last couple years. It's I really really like Coda a lot. But it even feels
that movie hits different. Let me tell you, it hits way harder too. So it already hits hard, but when you, yeah, prepare yourself next time you watch it.
yeah, good god.
Um, yeah, it's interesting talking about Oscar conversations and like, does it
Everything
feel
everywhere all
like
at
an Oscar
once.
movies? Yeah, that doesn't really feel like an Oscar movie. That almost did the clean sweep of it. Won best supporting act. It won best director. I think best screenplay, best picture, best actress, best supporting actor, best supporting actress. The only thing it didn't win that was one of the big ones was actor.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you think about that movie in that light? Would you put it up against, Silence of the Lambs? And it's like, I don't know. Like it's weird. It's weird.
It's just so
It's
tough. I mean, it's so tough.
it
And
is.
part of it like it goes back and forth. I mean, people like to complain and
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies and even us who put a lot of effort into watching a lot of movies and um as much as we love it, it can unfortunately kind of sometimes sneak into chore territory where it feels like
Mhm.
you're like and you start to like then you take a step back and you're like is this what it's all about? I mean, I should be watching movies because I love them and I'm enjoying it, but now I feel like I have to watch it or whatever. It's tough to watch them all. I mean, I still haven't seen all the Oscar nominees from last year, and I'd like to, but
I I
it's
finally I did accept the the one that had the actress in it that everyone was campaigning for, the Brazil movie.
yeah. I'm still here.
Yeah, that's the only one I didn't say.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen Nickel Boys. I haven't seen I'm Still Here. Some of them I get mixed up on. I forgot which ones were Best Picture. Sing Sing, was that Best Picture or just actor? Or neither?
That Sing Sing was not Best Picture.
Okay. And September 5. I haven't seen those, but it
Uh,
and I can't remember if that was even on there or not, but it doesn't matter. It's just tough to see them, and it does kind of feel. We're talking about does this feel like a movie? People have complained about what wins and what doesn't win, and things are different. I mean, you take the last few. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Oppenheimer, Anora. They're all different than
Very.
than previous years, and one of
Yeah.
them people had heard of, and one of them people definitely saw, and maybe even two of them with
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere. And Anora, the campaign was so big that people had started to hear about it late. But I mean, that was a small release, but it
Very small.
it's tough to see. You get drowned. I talk to you about movies all the time, and then I'm on movie Twitter or not, movie Instagram, whatever. I see a lot of stuff. So Anora is just like everybody's talking about Anora, and then it's like, well, I mean,
Is
if I
everybody?
walk
It's like an
around
echo
and I start
chamber.
asking
Yeah.
people like my non-movie friends, like you seen Anora? My guess is most of them are like, I
No.
don't know what that is.
And that's part of the problem with talking about movies today, and this is a larger discussion, but um, people get so lost in the online space of it all that they forget that that's like such a small amount of the larger space. Like when you talk about box office receipts, like Everything Everywhere All at Once was seen as a big box office success, and it was. But when you look at it's comparatively to how much it cost, right? It didn't cost a whole lot of money to make. But when you look at something like Oppenheimer, that movie almost made $1 billion.
Hmm.
It's not even in the same conversation. Um, it's just over the years, it's tough. It's tough to see what feels like an Oscar movie, what doesn't feel like an Oscar movie. It used to feel like certain types of movie. There still is that like certain type of Oscar movie, but this doesn't feel like your stereotypical Oscar movie. So to a degree, I get what Martin Scorsese means by it. Um, but
Yeah.
speaking of Oscars,
Circle back. Fine. That was a long
circle
tangent.
back. This one, this won 4 of 5 Oscars. It won Best Picture, Director, Editing, and Screenplay. Mark Wahlberg was the only actor nominated, which is freaking wild.
That's crazy.
Uh, and he would lose controversially, might I add, not because he was supposed to win, to Alan Arkin for Little Miss Sunshine. Mark Wahlberg was kind of like, I don't want to say he was the odd man out this year, but he was kind of like third in the order of that
Hmm.
year. Like, let me go and look here at the nominees. But number one, the favorite to win was Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was the favorite to win that year for Dreamgirls.
Girls.
And then you
Okay.
had Alan Arkin won for Little Miss Sunshine. He was the one who kind of came out of nowhere and won, and it kind of shocked everybody. But you had Jaimin Hansu and Jackie Earl Haley as well, both of which were very good. You know, you have Little Children, and then you have Blood Diamond again. Um, 2 actors nominated for Blood Diamond. Jaimin Hansu's great, but he was really good in Blood Diamond.
He's always good.
Yeah, he is. Dreamgirls, Eddie Murphy as Dreamgirls, he was supposed to win. He left after he lost, famously. And he was supposed to win. So it's crazy that Mark Wahlberg was the only actor nominated for this movie. And a lot of it was because of the campaign of it all and who they decided to go with. And Jack Nicholson wasn't nominated, which is to me insane. Like looking back on it, watching this movie, it's like I watched this movie. I'm like, yeah, he clearly got a Best Supporting Actor nomination. No, he didn't. A possible reason why Leonardo DiCaprio did not receive an Oscar nomination for his performance in this movie was because Warner Brothers initially did not want to favor DiCaprio over co-stars and placed him in the leading actor category. Which is why he got, I think that year for Golden Globes, he got nominated for both The Departed and this.
Hmm.
Um, and the studio favored DiCaprio's leading performance in Blood Diamond, which again, he's really good in Blood Diamond, but this is the better performance, I think, which officially got him, the nomination for Blood Diamond. DiCaprio refused to campaign against his male co-stars in the supporting actor category, so Warner Brothers, bought no male supporting actor ads for DiCaprio, and he did not receive a nomination.
Hmm.
So I think it was a lot of actors in the same space, and they just lost out. And it was a pretty competitive year. Like Eddie Murphy, Dreamgirls, very good. Alan Arkin, Little Miss Sunshine, very good. Jaimin Hansu, Blood Diamond, very good. Like it's a killer's row of performances, and that's why I think it was very hard because you had a lot of people in this movie as well. Which one do we favor? And Mark Wahlberg comes into this movie. He's only in a couple scenes, but man, he dials it up, and he's very good. Like some of the most memorable lines are his in this movie.
Definitely. Definitely.
Um, Martin Scorsese did not realize this was a remake of a Hong Kong movie until after he agreed to direct it. Martin Scorsese, you're a fan of cinema. How did you not know?
Have you seen it?
No.
I haven't
Actually, yeah,
either.
I have. I have. It's very different.
Oh, really?
There's some similarities. Yeah, there's some similarities, but they are very different movies.
Huh.
I think. Um, but Matt Damon decided his character should be impotent to counter Frank's macho personality. And on first watch, when I saw this when I was again 12, that kind of it didn't go over my head, but it's not like something I paid attention to. And
Sure.
watching it now, it's like, okay, that makes sense. It also fits into there's some fan theories that he's a closeted gay man in this movie. I've heard those as well. So
Yeah. I mean, he's his subtle. I mean, I don't know if it's subtle. It's kind of realistic, but his he's overcompensating for a lot throughout the movie, and he's
yeah,
obviously like, I mean, he's buying
ovatime.
too nice of apartment. Yeah, over time. Yeah, he's bragging. He acts, too macho. Um, yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely feels like he's covering.
yeah. Uh, this marks the third time that Martin Scorsese has used Rolling Stone's "Give Me Shelter." He really loves that song in one of his films. He actually uses it twice in this movie. But sidebar,
Yeah.
there's two songs in this movie to me that steal the show. It's "Shipping Up to Boston," which was the ringtone on my what's the Razor was the ringtone
No
on
idea.
my Razor for the longest time. Um, After I saw this movie, and then my favorite version of "Comfortably Numb" by Van Morrison, which was in the trailer for this movie. Um, I used to listen to that song all the time. Such a good song. I mean, the Pink Floyd version's good, but I like the Van Morrison live version a little bit better.
It was good. It was well used too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the shipping it to Boston is great. Just likes that song a lot too.
Yeah, great. But moving on to our award section, we don't have to spend a lot of time on these scenes, Walker. We can kind of just speed through them because there's
Okay.
a lot on here. Some of these are, I usually like to limit myself to 10. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go over. Especially for movies like this. Frank meets young Colin again, like Jack Nicholson just dialing it up to 1,000. Him just going into the store and just like automatically his presence, letting it be known and saying some really crass, awful
Yeah, he's
things to
just despicable immediately.
you, just awful. And then sees Colin there and just preys upon him as like, I know you lost your mother or whatever, or your father, and get some like give him some loaves of bread, give him some deli meat, give him some milk. You like comic books? And throws in that Wolverine comic book. It says if you ever holds his hand out and hands him the money, he says if you want to ever earn some money, come with me, kid. And again, it's just the praying nature of Frank in this scene is
Yeah,
pretty good.
good casting for the kid.
Yeah. Oh
That
my
that that,
god.
that shot of going to adult was like, oh man, that
Yeah.
that was pretty good.
It looks like Matt Damon. Like it looks like a relative. Colin going off on fireman. Just
It's funny is I actually don't like this scene that much because it just it makes I hate him so much immediately when I hear him talk. Like he's
that's the that's,
so
that's the reason. It's just it's
I know,
so
but it's one of the most memorable. And when I remember this movie, honestly, that is probably the first scene that comes to mind is him like turning around, yelling at the firefighters and saying whatever slur he says. So that about six of
yeah.
them
It says
in just a
about
thick ass accent.
he's laying it on thick, man, and it's authentic too because he's
And then,
from Boston. Like
and then oddly enough, like it makes him even more like like you just talked about the fun fact about uh, Colin and he's pretty unlikable in a lot of scenes. Like and I don't know if this is intentional or just weird editing or whatever, but like after that scene when he starts, harassing the firefighters, whatever, and then the scene changes to a different scene, and then it comes back to him sitting on the bench, and he immediately starts talking about the firefighters again, and it's like, dude.
Yeah. It's not
And I
letting
don't
it
know if
go.
that was just like a weird continuity thing, or it's like, no, he's just obnoxious. he's
He's
just
just
gonna,
obnoxious. Yeah. Just not letting it go.
yeah,
Um, Dignam and Queenan interviewed Billy. Again, like Mark Wahlberg, when it's so funny watching this sequence because it's like the two different versions of acting. The like I don't want to say it's over the top, but the really like charismatic performance versus the restrained performance and seeing them side to side. You get to see like the boisterous performance of Mark Wahlberg just laying in to Leo and like giving him the business. And then you have Leo all the acting in the face and it's just him holding back and the restraint, and it comes through a
yeah,
little bit when he like bites back at him a little bit like, I'm not going to talk to you, I know you're not the one in charge, I'm talking to him right now.
yeah, yeah. He the I mean, what am I trying to say? I think in the past when I've watched this scene, it's just come off as someone being a hard ass and like
Mm-hmm.
mean and challenging him and for whatever reason to see if he's tough enough or whatever. But then uh this time it felt like the script had a little more oomph to it. Like that, like when
Mm-hmm.
I was paying more attention to like what he was actually saying about having being like a Southie kid on the weekend, but then like lace curtain on the like regular during the weekdays and having two different
You
accents. And I
did,
was
you
like,
little
that's
fucking rat. Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
I
yeah.
was, it really like the what he was actually saying had more like meant more to me this time.
Yeah. Mr. French breaks up the fight over the cranberry juice. What are you on your period? And like it's just he comes in so hard and those punches that he throws to the guy that's already had like the screwball glass smashed over his head. They look real, and it's because Ray Winstone was a boxer,
Mm-hmm.
and so the punches look like someone who knows what they're doing. And then the way he walks around, and just get the fuck out of here, like it's
There's
great.
guys you can hit and guys you can't hit, and he's
Yeah,
not quite a guy you can't hit,
yeah. You
but he's
don't
almost.
fucking hit him. The way he says "hit him" is just like intense. I know you. I know your father.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're pretty good at it. I can hear you. Sounds just like him.
I've been working on it a little bit. It ain't great. Listen, there's going to be some Boston guy going off of me in the comment section telling me that my accent sucks, and I agree with you. But I'm working. Um, good. She's tired from fucking my father.
Yeah, it's a
That
good line.
exchange. Yeah, great. Uh, Frank confronts Billy at the bar. I just love again the camera work here, where you don't see him walk in, but he walks in. You see the two women talking at the
Yeah,
bar,
that is great.
and
Great.
they get up and leave.
It's an
And he just
excellent scene.
sits beside him. You know who I am? No, just no. And the intensity of the scene, and again, like Billy standing up to Frank and not giving a crap, and in a way, kind of earns Frank's respect.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it's very calculated the way he's. I mean, it was fun to watch him like infiltrate the get his find his way in there.
Yeah.
He handled it masterfully, and it's the character did, and it's I don't know, it was fun to watch more so this. I hadn't seen this movie in like 10 years, but like
Watch it every
watching it this time, yeah, um, it was just fun to see him like all the choices he made. Starting with his cousin and the money and the this and that to try to find his way in there.
Yeah. It's funny. I say I watch it every St. Pat's Day. My DVD copy, the one that my nana got me, finally gave out, so I had to re up it with the 4K, which I don't even have a 4K player, but that's the only one I could find. So I got the digital copy with it, so I can watch the digital copy. So it's fine. But I have the physical copy too. But
Nice.
the other part of this is when he's exiting the scene and he goes, "She's on her way out." When he asks about her mother, "How's your mother?" "She's on her way out."
Mm,
We all are. Act accordingly. Like, love that.
good line. Good line.
I thought it was nice you asked him which hand he jerked off with. Again, just like, what the hell?
Yeah, and him just so cavalierly holding that damn hand,
What can I
uh,
use you
and then um, I'm trying to think of the other scene where it
Takes
just reminded me of the scene where he shot the girl on the beach and was like, "She felt funny."
Yeah, and there's that story that Matt Damon tells about how he added that in, and now he found like it's little details. And it's again Jack Nicholson, legend, really
Yeah.
is. Frank and Billy have lunch, and the thing I like about this sequence is that it's like Frank knows because everyone knows Billy is a really smart kid, but
Mhm.
he doesn't have the same ambitions. Like he scored like a 1400 or something on his SAT, which, back in the day, 1500 I think was the most you could get.
Yeah, it was 16. Yeah, it was.
It was 16.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 1400's huge though. It's a great
Yeah.
score.
That's a really good score. Um and he knows that this kid's capable of more, and he just tells him, school's out, and he's like, you are an idiot. Like, you could actually make something of yourself, and you're not doing it. What are you doing? um Billy meets with Madeline for the first time. This is like, again, in terms of like Leo's performances, this is my favorite scene that he's in. Like, if you're showing the Oscar reel, he would have got nominated. This is the scene that you show. He's so good.
Is that the give me a bottle of scotch?
Yeah,
And
this
I
is
want
the
value.
yeah, when he's in the office and he goes off.
Yeah,
Like, my hand is
yeah.
steady, it doesn't shake.
That is a great scene. He is good at that. I actually saw that somewhere else that would be the scene that they think of when they think of how good his performance was.
Yeah. That one, and then this next one, Billy loses his composure after a year and he wants out. He's like, I can't do this anymore. They're gonna find me out. He finally has enough of Mark Wahlberg and punches him in the face.
Yeah, it's
Um,
nice too. You said earlier, this reminded me of it when you were like when he starts to bite back and Mark Wahlberg kind of like might tone it down a bit, and then Mark Wahlberg's never been nicer than sitting in the car after they get into a fight. Like when they like, I feel like
yeah.
he like completely is like, all right, we can just talk like normal people now. We'll have to be obnoxious
You
as
want them to
hell.
chop me up and feed me to the poor? Like, it's like, yeah, it's him again. It's the ability and the range to go from like holding back subtle performance to like boisterous, going not over the top, but like very showy. um it's not something a lot of actors have talent in doing, and he does. It's why Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the greatest actors of all time. um T9 texting in the jacket pocket, I'm again nostalgic for that because I used to be really good at that, just hiding my phone in my pocket and being able to have full on conversations uh, via T9.
Yeah,
um
that is
uh, I thought I was supposed to go in shock. I'm not in shock. Makes me laugh every time.
that's funny. That's funny.
I'm supposed to go in shock. I'm not in shock. It hurts. uh,
Oh,
so I put this in because I love the music choice. Talking about it earlier,
comfortably numb.
Billy and Madeline hook up.
Yeah,
Like it's just the song choice, the way it cuts. There is a weird cut where he's standing on the door by the doorpost and she's by the opposite end, and then all of a sudden when they start to hook up, she's on the countertop and he's right there. Weird. Um,
Yeah. Um, yeah,
but I
and
like the song choice a lot. It fits.
there is a good. I agree. It's timed well too. Um, something about that came to mind too. And I think it might have been the weird cut you're thinking of, where it just we just skips to like a new room and a new like a new like it feels like something's about to happen, and then it's I guess it happens 10 minutes later. Like let's walk in the kitchen and do it. Like it's kind of weird. Um, but one cool thing to us I noticed this time was the scene right beforehand was her moving in with Colin and him like taking all her stuff, and I assume he's taking her stuff because I mean, is it because he doesn't
He doesn't want family
want
photos.
people to right? He doesn't
Yeah,
want people to see things to like put her in danger or whatever. But he like immediately tries to hide who she is and put her in there. And then as soon as Leo goes over to the house, he looks at the picture of her and like holds it up on the wall like he would want to hang up the picture of her,
yeah.
which is a nice
The
little
differences.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good. That's a good spot. I like that. Um, it's working overtime. See, I can't do it. I just lost it. See, it sounded awful just
Oh,
then.
it's
Oh,
working
yeah.
overtime.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. Again, always gets a big laugh from me. Um,
Jesus.
the adult theater meetup again. Allegedly, the dildo is it was an ad lib, and Matt Damon didn't know that he was going to do that,
Oh yeah.
which makes that scene to me even funnier. Like,
Mhm.
what are you like? Again, it just goes to speaks to the unhingedness of Jack Nicholson in
Yeah.
this role. But that scene in particular is very good, and it follows the Billy tracking down Colin. Which again, the first time you're watching this, man, I was on the edge of my seat, especially when that phone goes off. Like, it's intense.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Um, Frank questions Billy if he's a rat.
Um, is this the scene? This is the one with the where he improvs the gun, right?
He drops the gun. Yeah, he dropped the gun and then picks it up and then points it
That's
at
an
him.
ad lib too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's feels like that's one of the scenes I remember more than anything. The rat is perfect. That's one of the most memorable scenes of the movie as well.
It is, and it's
Uh,
incredibly well acted.
yeah,
And
you
again,
can just tell sometimes when they sit two people down, two mega actors like this, and they're sitting across from each other, and you can feel right away like this is gonna be a big scene. This is gonna be something that's like makes you that pulls you in.
yeah. Um, Queenan dies, and again, there's like a fun tidbit. You see the DVD or the 4K disc cover up there. It has the X on it. Anytime there's like a death or someone's gonna die, there's an X in the scene, or there's foreshadowing that this person's gonna die. As he's falling down, you see the X's. And again, it's the thrillingness of seeing this for the first time, thinking Leo's gonna get caught. He somehow evades it, even though he kind of gets caught by the other guy that's undercover. And it's like, yeah, it's intense. But then when the body lands right in front of him and you get the blood splurt,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
This is a great scene. I mean, this is intense, and this is right kind of where we get going on like the just kind of the closing act of the movie. That
yeah,
just feels like we're a long climax that begins here, and it's and like just the implications of one of the only two people that know about him, and the only one that's comforting to him.
yeah. The breathing on the phone.
Love it. Love it. This particular
So
time watching it, when I when I saw that scene, this I've seen it before. I've always liked the scene. This time, I was watching it like, this is genius. This is such a good scene. It just the silence. Um, Even though they like called back later and spoke for a second, great.
Yeah.
And it handled well. It was good exposition. The That was perfect. It was I love that scene.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking. Frank and crew get cornered. Slash Frank meets his end. It's such a violent ending. Like all the guys get
Triple H.
got. Yeah, what's his face just you know doing himself in the car and then like you said with the Triple H with Jack Nicholson where you get my favorite is when he's running away and it's him and he's just like it's Jack Nicholson who's like in his 60s or 70s running away. um is great and him telling Costigan he's like I would never trade you in when you know that he is because he's an FBI informant.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. Uh, Madeline listens to the tapes. I love
Yeah.
how this scene is shot. It reminds me of like the way that the shower scene in Psycho is shot. Um, Pretty cool there. Um, her unplugging the thing so Colin can hear it. It's pretty cool. Billy tries to take on Colin again. Slash biggest surprise death scene ever. I was so happy seeing it in the theater and seeing Matt Damon just the scene where he has him up against the wall and he keeps talking and Leo's just like shut the fuck up. He's like hitting him with like the
Yeah.
elbows. I was like, God, yes. Like it just because this guy's
It's
such a
gonna be
piece of
fucking
shit.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
No, yeah.
desperation of him just clinging to the confidence and then like the just kill me, just fucking kill me. I've already killed you. And the surprise of I it's one of like the most loud reactions I've ever had in a theater where I was just like, "What?" Like it blew my mind. I was not prepared for that.
Um. It it's. I've said this several times. Kudos to the movie. It's obviously a memorable movie. Um, this also is one of the more memorable parts. I mean, this is one of the more memorable parts in film. I mean, this scene is excellent. It's intense. It's timed perfectly. It's an awesome scene. There's twists all over the place. There's
So
tension.
many
It's
deaths
unexpected.
in one sequence where you're just like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not just Leo. Detective
Oh yeah.
Brown gets God, and then the other guy gets God as well. I forget what that character's name is, but he gets God, the guy who shoots Leo. And the last scene
Yep.
I have here is Dignam gets the last laugh. Uh, him
Nice little
coming
bow.
in, yeah, coming in, taking out the main rat. Um, I really like it, and I was really pissed up until this point as an audience member, thinking like because Mark Wahlberg's been gone for quite some time. Dignam's been gone for quite some time in the movie. You hadn't seen him since he's taken 2 weeks with pay. Um,
Whip pay.
with pay, yeah. Um, and since he's taken 2 weeks, you haven't seen him, and then when you're thinking the movie's gonna have this crappy ending, and then all of a sudden Mark Wahlberg shows up, saves the day, and it's like, yes, yes. Um, Out of all these sequences, though, Walker, I think my favorite is Billy tries to take out Colin slash biggest surprise death ever. Like it
I think
really
that's
is
the
because it's the
answer.
thing that I think about all the time. Yeah,
I think that's the answer. I think that's the best. I do want to do an honorably mention for the breathing on the phone. That scene really affected me this time, but it just can't beat the the ultimate climax of the movie. I mean, honestly, it was one of the. I mean, it's the perfect mix of satisfying and still unsatisfying, and
yeah.
then obviously you get like the satisfaction with the Dignam in Colin's apartment, but um you just start to see like there's just probably, I mean, he's too far gone. Like he's too deep. There's just no way out. It feels like at that point,
Yeah.
and like you, but all of a sudden you start to think, maybe, and boom. I mean, it's a perfect level. Like it, and it happens so fast that you don't have enough time to like
Watching
think.
it
You don't have enough
watching
time
it
to
with
like make
Harley for
sense
the
of it.
first time, she hadn't seen it. She thought that, like, exact thing. She was just like, "What is going on?" He it's shocking.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Uh, Worst scenes and moments, I only have one. It's and it's not what you think. It's the opening voiceover because it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. You cut the opening voiceover out and you just come in with "Gimme Shelter."
Yeah.
It's a it's a better opening. Like you can still like show like, the trials of Boston or whatever from the footage, but it doesn't really
I
the
agree. I agree.
racial tension aspect holds no bearing to the rest of the movie.
I agree. That's well said.
Um Best performance. This is a tough one. It's Leonardo DiCaprio for me though, because this ranks in one of my top three performances from him. From him, like my top three performances from him are my favorites: Jack from Titanic, and then I'd probably go um, Jordan Belfort from Wolf of Wall Street. Then this one, followed by um, I'll give you a top four:
Django.
Mount Rushmore, Catch Me If You Can.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree. It's Leo. I think it's Leo. Leo's excellent in it. I mean, it's a star-studded cast, and they're all bringing their A game. But I agree. It's Leo. My
Yeah,
top would be Sim. I mean, it'd be this, and it'd be Wolf. Um, maybe maybe
Django.
Django probably, and you know, I mean, he brings the show all the time. I mean, Aviator's a great performance. I mean, Aviator's not like one of my favorite movies, and same with Don't Look Up. They're not like my top movies, but I do think he's great in both of them.
Yes, he is.
Um,
Very different. Don't Look Up. He got nominated, so it's weird to say that it's an underrated performance, but his performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just keeps getting better.
oh, no, Once Upon a Time, yeah, I think Once Upon a Time too. Yeah, that's hard to. He's done a lot. It's crazy. You can forget just performances that could be lifetime
A
for someone
whiskey
else.
sour. Yeah, it's so good. Um, does this make sense of word? So there's a couple for this movie that I have. Um,
Mhm.
why are they telling Billy that he won't be a cop? Is it because there was some fallout when he was in the academy, or is it because of his rap sheet?
I didn't understand it. I agree. I wasn't sure if this was like I didn't know if this was like a if this was like a look, we've seen a lot of people come and go. You're one that's gonna go. Like we can
Mhm.
just tell from your grit, you don't have it. You're too smart. You're destined to do something else. This isn't gonna be for you. You're in it for the wrong reasons. That's the best vibe I got from it this time. But I also kind of felt like there was like a I don't know, like it was gonna be like they were implying like he wasn't gonna like they knew he was gonna go undercover and like afterwards he wasn't gonna be. I don't you know I didn't understand it fully, but I assume it was what I just said when.
I think it might be politically because of his rap sheet. He's never going to go far in this career, and you're never
Hmm.
going to be a cop. No one's going to hire you because of your rap sheet, and that's kind of what I picked up on. Um, is Madeline good at her job? We have already covered this. No, she's not. Are are adult theaters a thing in 2006? I don't think so.
I've never even. I mean, they've got to only be in big cities, right? I've never heard of
Yeah,
them that I
I've
know
never.
like where it is or anything, and I that feels so
Uh,
gross.
it feels dated.
Yeah, it's-
I guess it's just an added wrinkle to show that Costello's kind of just a degenerate.
yeah.
Opening up an adult theater in 2006 is like very old. Um, how come Billy's phone goes from vibrate to ringing? Because it was vibrating in the theater, but then it's ringing when he's walking. My guess, and I've had this happen before, especially back then, your phone would go from vibrate to volume on. I had that happen before. So to me, that's like I get that, especially with
Yeah,
those old phones and stuff. Like, yeah, because the volume button's on the side. All you gotta do is sit right, and it goes all the way up. You know. Um, why would Billy leave the citizen's note out of its original position? He's a smart dude. And look, smart people do dumb stuff all the time. So,
oh, when he put it back, you mean?
yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah, just
it's a dumb
yeah.
move. Rookie mistake. I guess his nerves are pretty. He's very raw. His nerves at this point are probably shot. So that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
smart.
I would have even put it not in its original position and hidden it like under the thing so it like wasn't no he had enough shit on his desk that it wouldn't have been noticeable at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it was noticeable that he put it in there in the worst possible way.
possible way. Yeah. Um, how would Detective Brown not make a connection with Billy? Because they were in police academy together. Excuse me. Whew.
Yeah, I think he I don't know. I mean I felt
That's
like
tough, right?
it had been a couple years. And I'm not saying he doesn't remember him, but like he hasn't been a cop for a couple years. So it's like this guy that committed according from his perspective, he committed a crime and went to jail
Served
for
real
because they
time.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't. They said they couldn't like hide the fact that he was in the academy, so they kicked him out of the academy, went to jail, served time, and has been gone since then a couple years. And now he has their sergeant at gunpoint. I think it was. I don't know. I bought into it. It felt
Yeah.
like and he doesn't shoot him. I mean, so he kind of does buy in, but it's an intense. I mean, his boss is at gunpoint, and he's like, "Oh God," and he does like hesitate,
It's like, you
but
know me. You know me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, and the last one I have here is more about people in general and the reception of this movie. Why are people so pissed off about the rat at the end? Like, that
I
is like a
I
big
don't get it.
I don't fucking either. Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's like
Is the logic, or do people say it's like too on the nose? Is that the thing? Like it's just not
the
subtle
logic
enough.
is,
It's just like cringy.
yeah. And to me, it's like, like there are worse movies, like, I don't know, Parasite, that are way more on the nose and way more in your face that doesn't get nearly as much crap for doing stuff that's like in your face about it. But with this movie, people want to pick on it for the one and to me it makes no sense. Like, it's like, to me, I get the symbolic nature of like the rat going in front of the Capitol building. It's essentially saying that like that you know, this kind of stuff and how, corruption is
Yeah,
everywhere. It goes up the ranks and everywhere. And so
yeah, yeah.
while
And I
there's
mean,
a happy ending
and
here, it's not.
he's always, I mean, and I noticed far more than ever before how much they cut to him, like looking at this state building and like
Yeah.
as inspiration or
Yeah.
aspiration or something, and 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 maybe it's just kind of cutting down like his dream and how he's getting there. I mean, yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't
No.
bother me at all. I actually think it was a nice little send off. I mean, it was quick. I actually don't mind it at all. I mean, I don't understand. People are.
It's a
I don't.
weird talking point that I will never understand.
Yeah. Do you think so? One more just to discuss for a second. Do you think so the second mole, Costello's other guy that kills Leo, um, he knew about Sullivan,
Yeah.
but Sullivan didn't know about him.
No.
So was it what? So what did it turn into? Like, was he a higher like ranking mole than Sullivan?
I'm
I'm
not
just,
sure.
you
I
know
don't
what I'm saying?
I
Like, it
I
was
don't get
interesting that
the
he.
impression. But
I just wonder why he knew about Matt Damon and Matt Damon didn't know about him.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
my suspicions is that Costello just had him keep tabs on
like that was
Sullivan specifically, maybe. Which also
that's
I don't know why I wrote this. I didn't write this down, but so Madeline's kid, her baby, is it Billy's or is it Sullivan's?
yeah. I
I mean, the
I
implication is
guess
that
it's
it's
Billy. Yeah,
yeah,
I guess it's Billy. But again, it's kind of. I mean, it's underserved, and like you said that word a couple times, and like and therefore it's kind of like I don't. I mean, again, that whole arc is
weird.
it doesn't do enough for me.
Mm.
It's fine. It doesn't take away a lot from the movie. I mean, the movie is excellent with it, but it could
And her
have been handled differently, or just not at all, or better, or whatever. But I would guess honestly more so after our conversation today when I saw it. That's kind of like it didn't. I didn't think Billy as soon as that scene came up. Uh, but I also felt like it was sort of empty. And now through our conversation, I think, well, I guess that was the implication that it was Billy's. Um,
yeah.
I've heard something. What did people hate about? What did, somebody said something about like how did Dignam know it was Sullivan? I read that somewhere, but I think he would. I don't know. I don't know.
My suspicion is that Leo was probably in contact with him at some point or had sent him similar things that he sent to Madeline. Maybe I don't know. Um,
And Dignam probably was digging into
and
Sullivan
also
too after the confrontation,
the
right?
confrontation, and he had confronted him before then, going, "I know you're the rat. I know you're a rat prick." You know, so they kind of laid the groundwork that Mark Wahlberg was aware of that, and plus, it's not like Sullivan's very subtle,
Well,
very good.
he knows Costigan died.
Yeah,
Wait, how did? I guess I don't know all the. Yeah. God, it's just a lot. I mean, it makes you wrap your head. I gotta go watch it again.
yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I think for me, the thing that sticks out is why are we, why are they? Why was Billy not a cop? I mean, some of these things we've kind of talked through them, and you can kind of
Yeah,
like reason your way through it because all the tea leaves are there, but it's
yeah.
not in your face, and the movie's not bludgeoning you with exposition on it. And I like sometimes that movies are like that, where it's not like telling you these characters' backstories. You kind of have to piece them together, and it makes you, as an audience member, more invested in it. And that's not me just scapegoating the writer. It's just I like stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, if I had to pick one, it would be why are people so pissed off about the rat at the end of this? It'll never make sense to me.
I think I agree. That's just silly to me. I
It's
agree.
stupid. MVP of the movie, Jack Nicholson. I think it's his energy that kind of the manicness of his performance brings up the manic energy of the movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm gonna give it to Marty, but I
Fair.
just because I think I this story
I would have given
this
it to
one
Marty, but
Wolf
obvious.
Goodfellas all they all feel. I just love the way he doesn't skimp on anything. He tells a story and he tells it thoroughly. And when it's time to be subtle, he's subtle. When it's time to be blunt, he's a brick to the face. And it's just, I think he just handles that so well. And he just tells a complete story, and he does it in 2 hours. He finds that perfect line. Doesn't have to make it 4 hours. I mean, maybe once or whatever Irishman is, but I just think he obviously he's an all time director, and I think he has an all time film here, and deservedly an Oscar winning direction.
Completely agree with you there. I'm not going to fault you for picking them. Like I said, I would have picked them, but I just felt like you probably were. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Nicholson, who I think is underrated in this. But
Yeah, definitely.
listen, I think we've pretty much recommended this movie pretty straightforward. We don't really have to get into why we would recommend it, I don't think. I mean, just listen back to what we've talked about.
100%. Yeah. I mean, first of all, it's a cool. If you talked about the plot of the movie and you were like, "Hey, this is what this movie's about," you'd be like, "Oh, that sounds sick." And now we're gonna get one of the best writers of all time. We're gonna get one of the best cast of all time, and they are all gonna bring their A game,
Yeah.
and we're gonna make that movie. I mean, I'd see it every day. I mean, it's an excellent film.
Yeah. Completely agree,
You got
man.
anything else for us? You got
No,
anything else for
dude,
us?
I am. I am. I'm done. I'm done. I've spoken my piece on it, man.
Well, thank you all very much for listening. If you're hearing this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thanks for watching. If you're catching us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below what you thought of The Departed. What's Martin's best movie? What's Leo's best movie? What do you think about that alternative multiverse cast that could have happened? Um, Again, we'll be kind of in and out for the next few months. Thanks for being patient with us, and but other than that, we'll see you soon. This has been Ben and Walker. Thanks a lot.